So in this video, I'm going to discuss being a college student, and one of the successful ways of being a college student is being proactive versus reactive to your assignments. Um, you are typically given a syllabus at the beginning of the semester, first day, hopefully, and it has a whole list of all your assignments and everything to expect from this course, or any course, for that matter. And so I want to talk about, how the most successful students are proactive versus reactive when it comes to dealing with being in college and taking classes. And so someone who's proactive typically looks a week or two ahead and plans accordingly. And what I mean by a week or two ahead is that you'll look at the syllabus 1, 2 weeks ahead, and not just look at it, but maybe get a little ahead in the reading and kind of brief yourself on on what chapter or the next few chapters or the next chapter that you're about to dip into. And this is important because it gives you time to create a buffer. So reading ahead and even doing some of the assignments ahead, you can do create the buffer because sometimes life gets in the way, and um, it happens all the time. It happens all the time. So um, work towards creating. These successful students typically work towards creating and maintaining a buffer by getting ahead in class. And the minimum, I would say, would be read ahead. Read the chapters ahead so you know what you're going to get into, um, and that way you have a better go at it. What this does, what being proactive does, it reduces the amount of stress and anxiety taking college courses could potentially evoke those emotions. And learning software, there's frustration. Sometimes there's computer crashes, and you didn't save, and it crashed, and you got to start over, or something happened. And if you don't create this buffer, deadlines don't change. Due dates are still due dates. So imagine how much stress you would experience if you were just doing the assignments on time and your computer crashes or it breaks, and you got to figure out how to get another computer, and not just another computer, but downloading the software, installing the software again. So if you are a week ahead, so being proactive would be okay. Take that into consideration. I might have a laptop. Okay, if that busts, maybe I could borrow someone else's laptop until I'm done with this class. This class is 8 weeks long, so I wouldn't worry. Well, I wouldn't put this off and leave this as a worry. What am I going to do if my computer goes out? So a proactive student, a proactive person would have a backup plan. So always have a backup plan. Um, and some students even have a backup plan to their backup plans, and that's okay. Um, but think ahead and be smart about it. So that's what proactive students do. Um, they also will inform the instructor, myself, if life gets in the way. And we're people. We know life gets in the way. So um, most instructors have empathy, and sometimes we'll pull a student aside and we'll work something out um, because we want you to finish. Our job is to help you finish what you started. Whatever goal that is, and So this particular student would um, let the instructor know ahead of time, before the assignment's due, and not the day before. Unless it unless life literally got in the way the day before and they couldn't finish. But here's the thing: if you're notifying me the day before, what that tells me is that you're starting and completing the assignments the day before it's due. So that's not really being proactive. Let's talk about reactive. And this is how a lot of people live their lives, and there's a lot of anxiety and stress with living reactive. You react to whatever life throws at you. You react to, like, oh, that's due. Crap, I gotta do that. Yeah, okay, I gotta get to it. Um, you don't have to do college that way. Life is easier when you're proactive, when you schedule things out, when you say, oh, you know what, I need a break. Schedule a break. Sometimes, know your limits. Know how long you can work for. You can go for um, an hour or, maybe 2 hours. But it's okay to take like a 10, 15, 20-minute break. No longer than that. Don't go taking a break and start playing video games. That'll lead to disaster. Proactive students also don't know. Well, I wouldn't say don't, but know what gets in the way of school, and they know how to, or they plan for something that is like that can get in the way of school. And what I mean by that is like something like Netflix. You start watching one show and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so good. I gotta continue watching. Okay, stuff like that gets in the way. And if you know that's you, and we all have these guilty pleasures where it's like, oh, I'm just gonna check, my social media real quick, and then 5 hours later. So proactive students are proactive about being productive, staying productive, and we all have those things that help us keep and stay productive. And for me, it's lists. I make lists in books. I make lists on my phones, and I just cross things off the list as I go. And if I don't have a list of what I'm going to do on any particular day, there's an old saying that if you don't have a plan, you have a plan to fail. My lists are my plans, and I make sure I'm ahead of the game versus just on time. Um, so that's one thing I do. I get up early. That's helpful for me. I get up before everybody else gets up, and I get work done. And so typically I get up at 4:30 a.m. I go work out, um, do a little backyard workout, and then I get to work. And then people start getting up in my house around 7, 8 o'clock. I'm halfway done with my work day. So, but if you know you're a night owl, plan accordingly. You work better at night because everybody's asleep at night, and your brain is turned on and focused at night. Take advantage of that. So, identify who you are when it comes to being efficient with studying. And I say that purposefully because some people aren't efficient with their studying habits and times. They're not quite in tune. They set aside a particular time because, well, that's all that life offers them. That's okay too. But just know you're going to have to plan accordingly. And that's what a proactive student is. A reactive student will just be like, okay, well, this is due on Friday, and I'll get to it on Thursday. Computer crashes. It doesn't come back up. I get an email. Scary boy. My computer crashed. I don't know what to do. Should have always have a backup plan. And I know that if that's not easy, and I understand sometimes, but try and have a backup plan. reactive students typically are very anxious, they're very stressed out, they lose sleep, and it all takes a toll. It takes a toll on your mind, body, and soul. The spirit of who you truly are kind of starts to disappear, and it kind of just resides in the anxious and stressful state that you're in. And so, one way to reduce the amount of stress, not saying that it's going to reduce completely, there's some amount of stress that I believe is, and studies have shown that it's to be used for good. A little stress, getting stuff done and learning new things. You should be uncomfortable learning the software. You should be frustrated learning software, or just anything. And that's part of learning, and figuring it out. And so, not to say that I'm not going to be here for you when you have questions, or your classmates are going to be there for you when you have questions. But most people will. Most people will be there for you, especially classmates. And this is another thing proactive students do, is that they tend to develop a support system. And what I mean by support system, especially in college, is like-minded individuals who have like goals. So if you're an architecture major or an interior design student major, they're both closely related. They're still design oriented, and make friends, make close connections, and you won't have to suffer alone. And that way you can, typically these students will build a social circle with other students that are in a design field. And honestly, it doesn't really matter what major you're in, as long as you have other friends that have similar goals as you do, and you surround yourself with people that kind of cheer you on. Not everybody quite understands interior design or architecture homework and the frustrations that learning new software or learning something that's completely different from somebody else's day-to-day norm. And so it's good to develop these support systems that you can just call up or text a friend, like, they want to throw this computer out the window, and they'll talk you off the tossing that laptop out of the window. Anyway, the point is, if you have someone who is experiencing what you're experiencing, and someone to talk to that is experiencing what you're experiencing, you're more likely to succeed. And a proactive student knows this. And so, these are my words of wisdom to you. I have a discussion page for this, and I advise you to use it.